Quorum is present. I call this meeting of the Transit Advisory Group to order at 5:01 p.m. First order is roll call. Dave?
Here.
Debbie?
Still here.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Rose?
Here.
Tim? Tim and Becky has an excused absence for the meeting. Our liaison from the board, Fred Obie?
Here.
And JTA staff members, Kelly?
Here.
And Amanda.
Jeff is on.
And Jeff is also here as. Before we continue,
Yes.
we've had some news, and I wanted to ask Kelly to address that on behalf.
Yes, so we have some sad news to share. Our fellow tag member, John Fasca, passed away yesterday. And he was such a great community member and great tag member. He was at every event, even if he wasn't helping us table. I saw him everywhere out in the community. He was a transit advocate and big community advocate, and he'll be missed very much. He will.
I've been a groupie. I've followed all of his activism. And I just got a story from Kurt, the dial-a-ride driver, about how they took him out on the trails to advise them about the ADA. And
Great.
I just have worshipped him from afar. He's the reason he convinced me to join tag.
Well, I think we will all miss him, and all of us are diminished by his loss. Thank you, Kelly, for your warm words. Our next item is public comment. Does any member of the public wish to give comments? Amanda, is anyone online?
No one online.
No one online? If there's no one online, we will go onward.
We have one member like in the chamber.
Right, we have one member of the public in the room.
Currently.
I'm the person you're discussing at the end of your agenda.
Okay, all right.
They're public right now.
I'm the public right now.
Thanks for that. Then we're going to open and close public comment. And go next up to the consent agenda for approval of the March 4th, 2026 tag meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll
This
second.
meeting. Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded. Call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you for that. Next item is updates from the last JTA board meeting, and that's going to be done by Fred Obie. Over to you, Fred.
Yep. Well, the big news was we approved the start of the Sunday service pilot, and I understand that the participation was really big, and the numbers look good. So, congratulations to everybody there. That's a big deal, and we'll look forward to reports in the future to see how well that's catching on. But I'm pretty impressed with what's happened so far. There was a lot of discussion about the San Juan connector and microtransit stop in one of the routes had eliminated the going into Fort Worden as a way to save time and make that route a little bit shorter. And there were some comments on the survey that was done that took issue with that a little bit. A lot of people were saying that they really would appreciate if the buses went actually into Fort Worden rather than stopping outside the gate. So that's under discussion. No decision was made on that, but it was a concern that was taken pretty seriously. Also with microtransit, originally they were talking about picking people up at their homes. Now there's some discussion about whether that's a safe thing to do, just in terms of driving in and turning around and doing all of that kind of thing, maneuvering in tight spaces. And so that is also under review for the moment. The Gateway Visitor Center was discussed, and it seems to be stuck at this point, and with no clear vision for the future. Although we have a cost estimate, and develop the site, but there's a lot of red tape. Nicole said she estimated somewhere between 6 months and 12 years for resolution of this, to give you an idea of how unclear it was. And Commissioner Brotherton said, well, I'm sure it's not going to be 6 months. So that was about as close as we got on that. So that's ongoing. There's an environmental process that needs to be attended to. Talked about a possible porta potty in the meantime there, because people are complaining a little bit about stopping and not having a place to go to the bathroom. And there seems to be even a problem with that, because overseeing agencies say before anything can happen on that site, certain processes need to be put in place. So we'll see where that goes. Fire suppression system was approved. So we're getting the fire hydrant in, and that's a big step forward, of course.
Yeah, that's excellent news.
The facilities maintenance building was discussed, and the plans were shown, and that looks good. It's coming in less expensive than other buildings. They've taken some steps to make sure that it doesn't require the same kind of fire flow and things that were required in this building. So that's the application has been made, and plans are moving forward on that. Bus shelter signage was another big discussion. The signs it ranged from the signs in the bus shelters are either non-existent or out of date or too complicated, or and there wasn't any clear resolution about that as well, except that a number of people said that we should be relying on QR codes more than printed schedules inside the bus shelter, so people can get the update information. But of course, not everybody is necessarily either equipped or conversant in the QR code world.
You are.
Like older seniors.
So that is not a complete solution, obviously, but anyway, so that was a big discussion as well. No action was taken on it, however. The bus replacement, a big deal. Obviously, we had a totaled bus in the accident. And we need to replace that bus. And the question is whether it should be a diesel bus or an electric bus. Generally speaking, the board decided that if whatever we could get the quickest would probably be the best solution. People were leaning toward a reconditioned diesel bus because it'd be a lot cheaper. Either way, it's going to be a $212,000 hit on our reserves, or what. I'm relaying that correctly.
Insurance cover anything?
That's after insurance.
After insurance.
Oh.
And a bus is.
Estimated costs were $760,000, and we're on the hook for $212,000.
It's better.
So the cost of a reconditioned diesel bus is much less than a new electric bus. Getting an electric bus would be a little bit of a problem because we don't have all the charging facilities that we need for more electric buses right now. So on the one hand, it would be good to wait for an electric bus and find a reconditioned diesel bus, but there's no guarantee that one is available and that we could get quickly anyway. So that's where that stands. That's pretty much the cliff notes from the meeting.
Thanks for providing that overview, Fred. Any questions from the tag members on Fred's overview of the last JTAG?
I've always hated there's no bathroom at the gateway. It doesn't matter if I'm Pete the Rocket Man or Dungeness or the bus. It's just there's no place to go pee.
Yeah,
And I've had to go really bad.
Yeah.
Run off into the
Okay, all right. We're gonna be talking a little bit about transit hubs later on, so we'll come back to that idea. But first, we're gonna go ahead and go to staff reports from Kelly.
Okay. I have a few things to update. So you guys will be listening to me talk for a little while. So first thing is to report out on the Sunday service event. I'm not sure if Nicole emailed Tag as well the board with
He
all
did.
the information. So you guys saw that we had 550 riders on Sunday, which is pretty amazing for the first Sunday because the Saturday had like 564. So it was pretty great. And for our celebration, I wasn't counting people, but I want to say there was between 40 and 50 throughout the 2 hours. I mean, we had 100 cookies and there was probably only about 12 left and I only ate two. So I would say we had about 50 admits.
Appreciate your candor.
I can't eat this. I'm sorry. It is just too sweet. It's just so cute.
They were very cute.
Let's see.
Did you see those?
Yeah,
No,
that
I
was a
didn't
really
make it.
good
I had
turnout.
another meeting.
We had a lineup of electric vehicles there. We had our Mach-E, the new Dial-A-Ride vehicle, and one of our new electric fixed route for people to tour and see, and they seemed to really appreciate that. We had two stations. One was cookies and talking about Sunday service, and then the other station, we had all of our brochures and display to just talk about like Transit 101. We had a bike showing people how to load the bike, so it was a really successful event. Switching gears, I went to the Connectivity Summit in March, and the first day was a youth fair, and I had lots of meaningful conversations and promoting Jefferson Transit as a career choice because some of the students are looking for something now. And so I did give feedback to them of maybe having different stations next year of having a like, what can students do now versus what are career opportunities? But I did try to promote a student to be on tag. I gave my business card to 5 of the students, but I have not heard from any of them. So we will keep trying.
It's the end of the school year too.
That is true. So we will keep trying on that.
Thanks for that.
Was this a connectivity fair?
Yeah, the first day of the youth fair.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get to the youth fair. I did
We're allowed to.
4 days.
Yeah, it was only for the youth.
Well, I represented transit on the first day of not the Joseph Wheeler storytelling, but I went to that. But I watched these high school students with a microphone and a video camera interviewing all kinds of people.
Yeah,
And they were so cool. Yeah, that was
So-
really fun.
it was a lot of fun.
And-
Yeah.
And they said, well, are you a volunteer on any nonprofit committees? And I said, well, yeah, I picked transit. Oh, yeah, Jefferson Transit, because I'm on 4.
Okay, let's keep going with Kelly's.
Anyway,
All
thank
right.
you.
So the second day of the Connectivity Summit was they started with agency networking and then opened it up to the community. Again, lots of really great, meaningful conversations. I was accompanied by our operations manager and we talked to lots of people and got lots of context. So all in all, it was really great. It was a little bit chaotic because it was just like open house style, but I felt that was really good to be part of that. My next topic is 2026 events and volunteering. So I'm going to list out all the events and then let you guys know which ones we'll need volunteers for if you want to volunteer. So coming up is the Roadie Parade on Saturday, May 16th. And if anybody wants to either ride on the bus or walk in the parade with the bus and hand out swag, you can let me know and I can give you details of time. The parade starts at 1 and it's usually about an hour long. And we usually have people get there about 12:40, depending on if you're going to meet us at the staging area or at Haynes Place to get a ride. So if you're interested, you can let me know now or email me.
Just quick item, Kelly. Do you think you might be able to email Tag with all the not just Roadie for right now, but all the events coming up for the summer so we can sign up with you all at once, or would you rather do it kind of month by month?
It's hard because sometimes I don't always have the times. Right now, I feel like I have more information. So I can email out this list after the meeting and then people can.
Super helpful, because I know not everyone has their calendars up right now.
Yeah. You want me to just go through them quickly then, and then okay, and I'll email for details. So, we're doing Touch a Truck on Saturday, June 6th. Is the first time because they've canceled it, since we tried to get involved and now it's happening. So we're super excited about that. It's the first time we're gonna be doing it. So, I'm not really sure what to expect. I think it's at the fairgrounds.
Is that the fairgrounds?
Yeah.
Such a truck.
Yeah, so they usually have fire trucks and police vehicles there, and they asked us to join a few years ago, but then it kept getting canceled, so now it's gonna be buses too. Yeah. The Jefferson County Fair is August 13th through 16th. This is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it's long days, 10 a.m. till 8 o'clock at night on Friday and Saturday, and it goes till 6 on Sunday. So I will definitely be needing volunteers for that, and that will be in the email as well. Wooden Boat is September 11th through 13th. Staff usually handles that one. And then the Quilcene Fair and Parade is Saturday, September 19th. So I would probably like volunteers again for that, for the booth and the parade. I'm trying to have more of a presence in the parades because those are the two biggest community events. I feel the Rhodey Parade, and then for the Quilcene community, their parade. It's a very short parade, but last year it was our driver, and I think there was 2 or 3 of our staff members walking in the parade. So it'd be nice to have more
Becky was in
people.
it too last
Yeah, Becky was there. And then farmers markets. So I put 12 farmers markets in our budget because I'm hoping to do all the Wednesday markets. So I will need volunteers for these as well. Sunday markets are 9 to 2, April through December. Saturday markets are 9 to 2, April through December. Sunday markets are 10 to 2, May through October. And the Wednesday markets are 3 to 6 p.m., June through September. So when I send out the email, just let me know whatever dates you might be available, and then I'll try to group people together and see if we can get some of those scheduled. Next topic, tag vacancies and applications. So we previously promoted on Facebook, and I promoted heavily at the Connectivity Summit. I can add a flyer to all upcoming events that we have openings, and I can mix in social media posts. And if you guys have any other ideas or stuff that you would like me to do, let me know.
I'd love to also have can we have it like a banner at some point on the website?
Yes.
For volunteers, and just reminding people maybe about our bylaws, what we're, kind of specific areas that we're recruiting for without listing the whole bylaws, just say. We're looking for people, for example, from all 3 districts, Jefferson County.
Yes.
We get good cross referencing.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. What I can do is a newsflash item with all of the details, and then have that sliding spotlight. When they click on it, it goes to the newsflash. So then it's in both places, and hopefully more people will see it. And then also do social media post. Okay.
Do you have any other ideas for recruitment? For tag? A couple open slots.
I do a lot of outreach work for the farmers market, Friends of the Stairhouse Volunteer Committee, Bayside Housing. And so I'm always doing outreach, and one of my main is one-to-one, posting handbills, talking to people. Because I'm not real fast on social media,
Well, it's
although I
okay.
do use it.
Certainly letting people know that you're in contact with, that there are vacancies, and inviting them if they're interested to apply is.
I'm always at the farmers market, and I love the Wednesday market. I'm always there because I live 4 blocks away and a few potholes. They fixed 2 potholes.
I think that's another good one, is all of the tag members also, when you guys are out in the community advocating for it, and if you know any.
Talking to your networks, talking to the people that you work with, looking at other community meetings that you might be at or something like that. Any groups that you're interested in, be it, Kelly had a really nice graphic in our packet this week talking about various activities that transit supports, everything from economic development to recreation. So thinking about it in terms of your networks at work, but also where you recreate too.
My question is, with Sunday service, is there a starting point to see what impact that has on, for example, could Main Street be involved? What's that do to traffic activity downtown? Especially for Sunday employees that before didn't have public transit access. I mean, is there a bump expected? Are employers aware of it? Is there a way to measure it? It doesn't fall on transit. Does it become part of the EDC or part of Main Street's thing to measure? Is there a way of having someone other than our staff involved in looking at that?
So you mean more than just regular ridership reports?
Yeah, yes, I mean, exactly. What does 7 days a week public transportation do on, on, a- on an impact basis economically to East Jefferson County? It's, I mean, it should not, I mean, certainly the transit should be involved in asking that question, but that data is out there. It's just who has the staff time to, whose mission is it to collect that data?
Tim, are you volunteering to do that?
No, I'm volunteering the EDP, I'm volunteering Main Street, I'm volunteering, those kinds of organizations, yes, definitely.
And not only for commuters and current people, but now that we're open Sundays, tourism, people traveling here now travel and get back on Sunday and not be stranded. So that will cut down on.
How was that package? How was that promoted? How was that marketed? Those are the commerce questions I'm asking.
Well, I think that, I mean, that kind of goes back to the conversation we had with the economic development, or the tourism panel last year. But upcoming in July is going to be economic development. So that's a way to tie all that together, is going to be saying, now that we have Sunday service, perfect time to tie into what the EDC is doing with their opportunity grant, and various other things going on with ICG. So that can kind of be a running theme too, which is, maybe measuring that economic impact.
Just an immediate message would be, and we've talked about this before, is for the Coopville, Port Townsend Ferry to know that there is 7-day transit service. You get a lot of walk-ons even now coming off that ferry, and that should be someplace in there.
Kelly and I had a conversation this very week about that. On the ferry, interestingly enough, Island Transit has 2 little placards on the ferry near the galley, and there's nothing for JTA. So we are going to be looking into that.
Okay, good.
I would be,
I'll stop whining.
I would be curious to hear from Dave in that he gets people who come in on boats on the bus.
And that is going to be
When you
part of
got
our,
Point Hudson.
that is going to be part of our connectivity discussion in a couple minutes.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, shut up then.
yes, no, you're ahead of you're visionary in your head, but let's let Kelly finish. You go to Jeff, and then we will be not looping you in on opportunities for people to come in to link to transit.
Yes.
For boat and from plane.
All right, so next is the rebrand update. So phase 1 of Discovery just got completed by MAC, our consultants. So they did 5 focus groups with staff, stakeholders, and community members. And this is their findings report, what they showed. They said what they believe from their focus group, what isn't working. That we have outdated visuals, the current logo, bus illustration depicting a vehicle never actually in service, the color palette, typeface are widely seen as dated. The bus is like a museum piece. It's in quotes.
I was in on that one, by the way.
Narrow audience perception. Currently, transit service is seen primarily as a system to serve elderly and economically disadvantaged people. This perception is a barrier to attracting choice riders, those who could ride but choose not to, in particular, younger riders. There's no emotional voice. The current logo has no emotional voice. That is another quote. It does not convey warmth, community pride, or the genuine value of service. It very much says bus service without saying anything else that might influence service perception. The colors, another quote, the colors in the logo remind me of Wonder Bread. I can't unsee it. But now we're going to talk about what is working. The trolley, broadly loved. It's fun, welcoming, unique. A model for the tone and feeling the brand should evoke. The trolley is an opportunity to speak to the tourist audience as well. Human connection. The human connection of Dial-A-Ride is deeply valued. Drivers are described as a major brand touchpoint. Their care and reliability build real trust, and we heard this over and over. Community trust. Riders speak positively about specific routes and the dependability of drivers. Stories were told about times drivers and office workers were able to help folks on an individual level, even during disruptions in service. Jefferson Transit has genuine goodwill in the community that a rebrand can amplify. Multiple times, interviewees commented on how lucky the county is to have such a great service. Color uniqueness. The red, yellow, blue palette is the only of its kind among regional transit agencies, giving JTA a distinct visual identity for better or for worse.
Brett.
So their recommendations for tone and feeling are friendly. Above all, the biggest read should be friendly. Fun is better than corporate. Artsy and a little quirky, reflecting the community's creative, bootstrap character, not too slicked up, but authentic. Warm, not cold. Port Townsend is described as warmer than comparable communities. The brand should feel like Port Townsend, welcoming, approachable, and human. It should invoke a feeling. It's not just a logo. The brand should make people feel something. Transit as a connector, a community lifeline. So for the color, their suggestions are evolve the existing palette rather than replace it entirely. Natural progression, not natural progression. I'm going to end it right there. Vibrant PNW inspired colors were suggested. Purples, greens, marine blues, colors that reflect the landscape and what grows here. So just because they say evolve the existing palette doesn't mean they're going to keep all of the three colors, but work within it and see what works.
Do they have an image in mind?
Not yet. So we're working towards that. So they say we shouldn't afraid to be bold. Colors should be recognizable so that the bus can be spotted without reading the logo. Right now we do have a few new red bus shelters that could be difficult to replace. So we're going to factor in shelter color, but it's not a sticking point. For the logo, updating the typeface, the current one reads as dated, sterile, and emotionless. Consider important and recognizable landmarks as strong potential view, an icon and pattern set representing the county's diverse identity, maritime, agricultural, mountains, and nature.
Sasquatch.
Historical nod desired, especially to transit history. The trolley, we don't want that to be part of the logo because if the trolley ever goes away, then we don't want that, but it can be some kind of graphic that we can use. And same with for the Dial-A-Ride. We can have a special graphic for Dial-A-Ride, but it's not going to be like the actual logo. Yeah. They said that we want to be unmistakably a bus system, especially in wayfinding and stop signage. Legibility at speed is non-negotiable. The brand should be instantly recognizable without reading the logo. So phase 2 is brand and messaging. So now what we're going to do is get together with MAC and some stakeholders to do brand purpose, values, positioning, voice and tone, come up with a brand story and some core messaging statements. And then they're going to come up with 3 to 5 tagline options for refinement. And then they're going to work on visual identity development. So they're going to create mood boards from this information that they have gathered and preliminary concepts for logo. And we'll have a community engagement part to gather input from the community because it's very important that the community is
That's the
involved.
fun part.
And MAC was the consultants that had, I feel, the best community engagement piece in their proposal of how they wanted to reach out to the community and how we should do that part. I was very impressed with that. So I feel good about that part happening. And then they will have a final brand system development with logo, graphics, color palette, typography, and their elements. So we are moving right along. These 2 phases will go May through August. So as stuff happens, I will update tag and you guys will see more information and option for input as we go through. And then I just have one more topic for the staff. The 2026 service change outreach efforts. I did put some of it in my report, but you guys might already know this. We had 590 survey responses, which is the most we've ever had on surveys. We did a lot of outreach and we're all very proud of that number because it's kind of amazing. We had a banner, we did mailers, flyers and buses and shelters. We had 5 pop-up events. 3 of those were transit 101 sessions. So, and if you guys want to see the survey responses, they are in the April board packet. So you can see that on the website and you can read through all the responses, which is a lot of really good information in there. And that is all for the staff update. That was a lot of me talking.
A lot to cover. I just want to say thanks to you and staff Because I know some of those things from the marketing and from the community service responses were probably hard to hear. Like the comment on the typeface, I was like, they made it oddly personal. But I appreciate that you guys are open and willing to learn and listen to that feedback, not take it personally and just kind of think about, how the agency can shift to something that's, promote ridership, because
Speak
that's
for
what we're
yourself.
here for.
I'm taking this.
Well, speak
No.
away, Tim.
No, that was the whole process of going through it when we changed it from if you even remember what the Jefferson Transit was before, that green, looked like a tree kind of and we went to this logo and, oh, the yelling and screaming that went on was amazing over that, but so for it to last this long, but to hear the, how it's outdated and whatever, well, yeah, it's 20 years old. So it's-
And there's always going to be some people that are going to love the new logo, and there's others that are not going to, and you can never make everyone happy, but hopefully we will move forward with
Draw
some
attention to it, so use that.
right for a majority of the community.
No, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun to see it.
Yeah.
I like the idea of gradual change too, to address kind of what Tim is saying, so that it's not so stark that one day the buses roll out and you're like, whoa, what is this? So
Bus is that?
whose bus is this? Not our bus. Kelly, I had two things, a couple things, and then we're gonna go to the group to see if there's any other questions anyone has, but just a couple questions that really minor ones. There were a number of tag suggestions from the March meeting, kind of related to marketing. One was like more airtime on KBTZ, another was working with Jefferson Healthcare Navigators, things like that. It doesn't have to be today necessarily, but maybe at the July meeting, we could just kind of get a couple updates on what some of those items were, because I know you guys have been so busy with the route changes and getting Sunday service out the door, but let us know where those suggestions went. And then there was a note in the packet also about wellness committee, walking with JTA. Can you say more
Yes.
about that? So we know, and if there's anybody that can ping into that.
If you don't mind, I'll just share my marketing report because there's just a couple quick things I wanted to touch on in that report. It was in the packet, so you guys can read through. So, I don't just do marketing. I'm also working on cybersecurity for our agency and accessibility compliance for our website and social media. And I am the chair of our wellness committee. And so our wellness committee is internal for staff, and we just planned our very first event that we called Walk with JTA. And we're doing, it's really short because it's our first time we've ever had a wellness committee. We're doing a 2-week event where the first week people just do status quo and get a baseline of their walking, hiking, or running. We're just doing a simple one. And then the second week is showing improvement. And then there'll be prizes for who has the most improvement. So we're trying to advocate for health and wellness with internal staff. And it's starting out, so we'll see how it goes. So we can follow up at the next meeting and let you know how our first event went and what the next one will be. On the outreach, I just wanted to call out and thank Jeff for his comments at a previous meeting about getting in some school newsletters. So I had my first flyer in the Port Townsend High School's newsletter and also in the Brennan School District. So I'm gonna start quarterly and try to possibly do every other month. It just kind of depends on, you have to tier it to students. So I wanted to make sure it's very thoughtful of what I do. So the first one was just kind of like an introductory into Jefferson Transit. So I'm hoping to move to every other month, but I'm gonna start off quarterly. So that's exciting. And then I wanted to show my beautiful
Yes.
Lynnette's going to talk about this later, so I will just show it really quick, but I made this for the Connectivity Summit. Just to show connectivity for Jefferson Transit. And then the next really cool thing that I've been working on, that I'm super excited about, I have created this brochure for how you get around the Olympic Peninsula Transit. Helm Transit and I came up with the idea. So it's going to be a trifold brochure that opens up and has contact information for all of the agencies. And then it opens up to this grand map of the Olympic Peninsula, and it shows that you can get around the entire Olympic Peninsula via transit. So I'm in draft stages and
Done.
Still the bottom piece.
yeah, because if you zoom out to, it connects way down in Aberdeen. And it was too far. If you zoom out too much, things get too small. So I'm trying to keep it kind of high level of just showing people what they can do around the Olympic Peninsula, and then you can go to the transit agencies for details. It's going to be in the Olympic Peninsula Tourism Commission's blog article in June for Ride Transit Month. So I have to get it done by May 20th. So it's almost done, and you will hopefully see it out there soon.
About 2 decades ago, this group of seniors for their senior project did how much it costs in the time zone and where it connected to go all the way around the peninsula. I thought that was a great senior project.
That would be a great senior
Yeah,
project.
we can talk about that when we talk about youth and mobility. That's the.
Yeah,
That
they
was-
did that about
That
20
was
years ago.
one of the leader inserts, maybe just a year or two ago.
Oh, Vivienne on our.
Last summer, yeah.
I don't know if she went around the entire peninsula.
She did.
She went all the way around today.
And we did the tourism.
I think that should tie into this perfectly, yes.
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
She got a lot of really great feedback on her article too, so.
And that's kind of partly why we're kind of looping in more recreational kind of discussions, that, it kind of pairs into economic development, right? But instead of going, back to your nice little slide, which we will talk about in a minute. It's a good example of there are many, many things that you can use transit for in your life, not just, business or medical appointments or something. All right, so quick round robin. Anybody have any comments or questions from Kelly? Lots going on for JTA staff right now. And I think, everybody who's really excited about Sunday service, I think we should giving them a round of applause for starting that.
I'm glad about that. Yay.
Yay.
Our operators, our dispatchers, and our maintenance and dispatchers.
Everybody.
And everybody. It takes a whole organization to do it.
You guys have done a great job getting there. Okay, any other questions for Kelly?
I just wanted to give you info. I'm getting ready to join my 5th volunteer committee because I'm going to become a ham and radio operator for the neighborhood emergency disaster hub through KPTC. But first, I'm signing up this month just to be a volunteer and learning how to give tours. So, and I'm going to be representing the Friends of the Starrett House Committee to get that in the community calendar. All the events we have, like high teas and everything from Rhodey to Halloween, and the Heritage Festival, the Victorian Heritage Festival we did. And I helped the hostess who's now doing the marketing to get that in there. Get that in there.
Okay, ham radio builds nicely on our
One since I was in the 7th grade.
emergency preparedness topic from a couple months ago. That's perfect. Dave has got his hand up.
You do everything up.
Yeah, quickly, I just wanted to piggyback a little bit on the Sunday service issue with the round of applause because when I first started on JTAG, I think it was like 3 years ago, it was discussed and there was always kind of this community need for it, but there's so many obstacles, staffing and being able to program that. And then after the left turn, right turn study, and I just want to commend Jefferson Transit for making that a reality. That was such a heavy lift. I remember Nicole at first was like, okay, here are all the obstacles to that. And but I think they heard the community, Jefferson Transit did, and made it happen. And I think that's really amazing for a government entity. I'm really proud of that.
Yes. I think we all are. We
Yeah.
agree with you.
Mhm. Absolutely. Thank you, Dave. Other questions or comments for Kelly?
I just wanted to mention that I was thrilled to see the very good article in the Beacon. The start of Sunday service.
I agree.
And I would like to see more things be aimed at that, all online newspaper as well. So it was a very good article. Yeah. I don't know who wrote it, but
Diane,
Bonnie Dale.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah. I am thrilled with Sunday service. We can actually go out to the farmer's market on Sunday in Chimacum now. You know, we couldn't do that before without a car.
Commerce.
What do you got?
Commerce.
Commerce.
All right. Okay, we're gonna move on now to new agenda items. Does any member of TAG have a new agenda item to add for today? Okay, moving on then to new business. First one is updates from your TAG chair. So here it is. Couple things about calendaring for topics over the next couple months. Originally scheduled today was other topics. So we're shifting economic development to July tentatively. We want to see who we can get to speak because it's the middle of summer. So that's tentative, but remember, people are out and about during that time and it may be harder to get speakers. If that isn't a go, then we will be looking at a topic we had scheduled for later in the year, which was regional and national transit trends, you know, focusing on lowering barriers to transit here in Jefferson County. Couple other things, the youth and mobility topic that was timely because of so many things going on, partly with connectivity fair and other issues. I spoke with John Nowak who's on the JTAB with Fred, and he recommended that instead of having it go all at once, he recommended smaller bites on that topic. So we might have a series of smaller discussions on it, culminating in some sort of event rather than having speakers and then we're done. So that's kind of an interesting way to approach that so that it's on our minds consistently over the next year. It's something certainly in terms of when we were talking before about demographics using transit earlier, we want to do what we can to get riders onto transit as young as possible.
Yes.
Fred mentioned something that I'm hoping to remind everybody about, and that was the transit hub at the Gateway Visitor Center. There's 2 other transit hubs under discussion right now and probably will come up from staff over the next year. One is potential changes at Haynes Place in Port Townsend. The other one is the Tri-Area Hub at Jefferson County Library. So I know some of you ride transit or travel or bike or however it is that you get there and may have seen 1 or 2 of those, but maybe not all of them. So if you haven't visited them, please take a moment on your own to go see all 3 of them, perhaps before the July meeting, because we will be referencing that. I mean, in some sense, they not only have a transit ridership access, but they also have a link to commerce, as well as to the topic that's coming up in a few minutes, and that's on multimodal transit and trail access. And then the last one is coffee with the chair. That's something that we've talked about a couple times, which is Deb and I did that a long time ago, and it got me thinking about what we could do to just kind of strengthen. You know, it's not always easy while there are a number of people in the room to ask deeper questions or have deeper conversations. So if you have ideas for topics that TAG could discuss, you know, suggestions on where the group is going, I'm open to hearing that. So if you'd like to have coffee with me sometime, I would love to meet you and talk in more depth. That needs to be scheduled though through Amanda. So we make sure that we stay in line with public meeting laws. So please reach out anytime. It does not have to be over the next couple months. And with that, let us go to tonight's topic, which is connectivity between transit and trails, but also, as we pinged Dave a minute ago, you know, how we get people who arrive in Port Townsend on boats and ferries and pilots to get on transit. So this goes back to, I'm going to share my screen just for a second here. So I'm on Zoom. Amanda, might be a minute before we get the PowerPoint up. So I'm hoping that is okay. So let's just check first. Can everyone see the PowerPoint for today? Okay, good. All right, just a couple slides here. And yes, there is Kelly's great graphic front and center to discuss with us tonight. So, you know, transit really does connect us to where we need to go. And there, you know, there are times when we talk about transit just in terms of one topic or another topic, but this is all the topics here. So we talked about medical services before. We've talked about education. This is something that came up in the recent workforce report that the EDC cited in an email recently about the lack of connection from transit to workforce development opportunities. So that could be a topic in the future. But it's also government services, regional connections, grocery shopping and dining, and tonight's topic, which is the one at the bottom center, which is parks, recreation, and community events. And so what we're going to chat about tonight, and Jeff is going to lead us through a lot of that, just kind of very informal discussion, is how to make transit part of your recreation journey. It does not have to be all by transit. You could bike a portion of it. You can get onto a trail walking and then have transit bring you home. So it doesn't have to be an all or nothing sort of thing, but including transit in your recreation planning is really what we're talking about tonight. And the city of Port Townsend has done some very interesting things lately with their particularly with their active transportation plans. So I'm going to have this slide up while Jeff talks. It's also in your packet, of course. And we'll refer to it as needed. We can also cite Google Maps if we want to talk about particular transit nodes. Jeff, would you lead us off on our discussion of connecting transit and trails and the work that you've been doing in Port Townsend?
Yeah, again, Jeff Costeca, Assistant City Engineer at City of Port Townsend. I got to lead the effort on the active transportation plan that was adopted by council in December of last year. So, you may know it as the non-motorized plan, which was developed in '97 and had some updates, but we're now the active transportation plan to be more in line with other plans, common term, more inclusive too. So yeah, as Linda pointed out, we have everyone's has multiple ways, multimodal connections in any kind of outing, right? Any kind of trip. So you're walking to your car, possibly you're driving, but even if you're driving, you're active transportation, you're walking, maybe you're riding your bike. But the focus tonight is how can you connect with transit and recreation? Of course, we encourage transit for your daily errands or commuting to work, but tonight we're focusing on recreation. So, uh, on that one screenshot on the left, that is some of the trails we have in town. We have a lot more that are not shown there. That is one of our action items for this year is to now that we have the plan is how can we make people more aware of what we already have? So we can't highlight every trail in Google Earth because it would be a little overwhelming. So as part of our plan, we've distinguished what are the major trails in town. And so you'll likely see those trails in online navigation, whether it's Apple or Google Maps. So that's a first huge help is knowing what exists to plan your route. As part of our process, well, let me step back. So active transportation plan, we have, I call it 3 tiers of the cake. We got our ADA routes, which is typically it's a sidewalk on the side of the road. That's pretty evident where those are. Secondly, we have something called connected routes. Other places call them neighborhood greenways. That actually is going to be a large chunk of our system now. And our theme was really about connection with this plan. And that was a lot of the outreach we got. People saying, hey, I'm on this side of town. I don't know how to connect to the other side. So that was direct feedback. So, whether you're only walking, whether you're only biking, whether you're trying to use transit as some kind of connection to get across town or to recreation, you need to know what's possible. So the stuff that's going to be rolling out from the city, hopefully within the next year, is going to really be an aid to help people plan how they can connect, how they can use transit, and what's the most convenient and safest routes to connect. And jump in if people have questions too. So we're going to be doing some outreach this year. We have a few planning level grants. Now that we've kind of done the general plan, we want to kind of drill down a little bit more and look at where are people struggling the most? What kind of shovel-ready projects should we start thinking about? So nothing official yet, but I mentioned these connected routes. I think I forgot to define that. So a connected route, neighborhood greenway, essentially you're stitching together existing neighborhood streets. So not a lot of traffic, low speeds, and how can you zigzag through town to connect? So, that might be people walking or biking directly to trails or connecting to transit to get to some of those recreations opportunities. So, one item that we're hoping to do this year is to do some low cost improvements to get people aware of where those routes are rather than just, some attachment in a plan. We want to get that on the ground. We want people to become more aware and start using those. And Dave can chime in on this. The city and the port will be working together on the Olympic Discovery Trail. Still, it's early in the process, but it might be next year when we start doing more of the outreach on that. But essentially, the city's going to our scope is from the park and ride to Fort Worden. And I know, Dave, you can chime in on what your portion of the ODT will be looking at.
Yeah, this is really exciting. This is a part of the RAISE grant that 14 different jurisdictions, including tribes, counties, and cities, from Bainbridge Island all the way to Nia Bay, got a RAISE grant for both planning and, in some cases, construction of what we call the Puget Sound to Pacific Trail. So, Port Townsend and Jefferson County's portions of this include the ferry terminal through the Boat Haven Boat Yard to Haynes Park and Ride, and then Haynes Park and Ride to Fort Worden. And then also the city is also interested in getting some connectivity to outside of town from the Larry Scott Trail. I'm sure you're aware of the new segment that's just about to open between Anderson Lake State Park and also Four Corners Road, or the Milo Curry Trailhead. There's also a segment close to Eagle Mount Road to get us down to Discovery Bay. And then there's numerous segments that go in eastern or western Jefferson County all the way to through Clallam County to the tip. So these are all in various stages of planning, but within city limits, there are 3 segments, and those are what we call the Larry Scott Trail Spur at the base of the bluff from the Leaf Wing structure, just on the west side of the boatyard to the Haynes Park and Ride. And then from the Haynes Park and Ride along Sims Way going to the ferry terminal. And then the other one that Jeff is talking about that goes to Fort Worden. So this will provide a full multi-use trail going all the way from Bainbridge Island all the way to the northwestern tip of the United States. So it's really cool. There's so many different segments, and the planning is all going to be taking place in the next 2 or 3 years. We hope to have funds obligated for our segment at the end, toward the beginning of next year. So a lot of outreach to take place, a lot of planning, a lot of meetings, but some preliminary permitting and preliminary design and environmental studies, that kind of stuff. But with that in mind, the port is always looking for opportunities on its own property to fill in between the lines for these types of projects. So we're kind of leveraging some current maintenance projects and stormwater projects to kind of lay the foundation for a future trail. So it's really exciting to see where all this connectivity is. As far as outside of town goes, this Sunday service really fills in a blank where I've made a couple trips when my family stole the car away from me. When we were a single car family. I've gone to from Port Townsend, I've gone to La Push. Also went on a hiking trip up Storm King, and you take Clallam Transit and Jefferson Transit to do that, and it's a really good way to recreate. But Sunday service helps to fill in some of these gaps too, because some of those gaps in our Olympic Discovery Trail system can be filled by throwing your bike on a bike rack on a bus and making that gap for free often. So and that's not a bad way to go.
And it's a good reminder about that, Dave, those critical gaps. When we think about putting these pieces together, the work that the two of you are doing together and with others, um, you can get, if you were to travel to Port Townsend on the ferry, for example, you could get all the way to the top of Hurricane Ridge, go up, have a nice hike up there in Olympic National Park, and come back all on transit. So
Right.
when we speak about the commerce that Tim reminds us about so often, I said that in a positive way. It's about opportunities for people who live in Jefferson County and also in Clallam and other counties. But when people are visiting this area, to not, to say, we like, maybe we like Quilcene, we like Brennan, we like other things. We also want to go for a long hike or bike, but we don't want to come back on our bike. So you can make that connection, go and have your hike and then come home without having to ride all the way back. So you can commit in different ways and add transit not only to address gaps, but it can also be kind of a one-way experience, one way on a bike perhaps, and another way back on transit. Well, thanks to both of you for great inspiring thoughts about how to work on that. And especially, I love the idea that you're pointing out that planning is coming with grants and other things, but there's so much possibility now, today, to do these things. Using transit to fill those gaps. We don't have to wait until all of these things are done over the next couple years today. Yeah.
I think I've mentioned it before, but I'll, one last thought, an upcoming project. We're definitely at the city, and I'm sure the port and county are doing the same. But looking, how do we spend our money the most wisely? What are the most critical gaps? So that is definitely an approach we're taking, and we're trying to prioritize and have the most benefit with the least amount of costs. So one key project that I'm pretty excited about is a low cost quick build project on Highway 20 from Sheridan as you S curve down to Haynes Place at the port Safeway. So they're very wide shoulders. So we're going to we got a grant from WashDOT to do a quick build improvement using precast curbs, slight narrowing of the lanes. We see a lot of fast speeds in that stretch to be more consistent with either side of that section. The lanes are narrower on either side. They're just wider in that one section. And so that will essentially be creating shared use paths that are, two direction on both sides of the road. So you wouldn't even have to cross the highway to go up or down the hill. And so that's going to be, not only a connection to goods and services, but to the transit center and recreational opportunities like getting on the Larry Scott Trail. So that one is coming in the next year for construction that we're pretty excited about.
I just wanted to point out too that just right outside the transit center there at Four Corners, you could jump on to that new connection that goes about 3.5 miles to Anderson Lake State Park, and that should be opening really soon. I know they're putting the finishing touches on it. It was Seaton Construction who did the contract for good local contractor to do the contract for Jefferson County And that's very exciting. It almost serves as a auxiliary trailhead and parking area there too. So multimodal at this time.
Absolutely. Thanks for that reminder, Dave. Tim, you had a,
Just to echo what I say every time we talk about outreach, particularly now with trails and how we're focusing on recreation, not as a commuter type service or in-house service, is where are the Tourism Coordinating Council and Lodging Tax Advisory Council from city and the county? Because this is where that outreach would be best. Obviously, if again, I go back to this, off the path on the edge, makes perfect sense in that we're asking for basically a new kind of visitor. The idea of coming with the idea of what kind of footprint you're making when you come into a community. And the better the signage, the better the trailheads, the better the transit service. And I like the idea of something along the S curve, but while we're at it, is to make people aware of free parking, free transit, and not, have them fly on by and head into town. But I think, again, this, at least at the leadership level, looking at the revenue from the tourism agencies, the tourism revenues, I think should be focusing on what's going on in transit.
well, and that's kind of our whole, I mean, Tim did a nice job of summarizing in some sense the whole reason that we're here. That's our whole mission, is not only, promoting transit ridership, but also advising JTA staff about things to take. And there's a lot of meat in what Tim just said, looking at signage, better connections. So, I love the idea of the grant for the ODT, and that's really great. But, we could replicate that in some sense with JTA staff on a broader level and have a working trail and recreation and park connection kind of, and I'm not trying to, we're not trying to add work to your plate. But, that could be something that TAG could help with as well as a partner to you to, we're not expecting that. But it is a good reminder about, our role to advise staff, things that could be done, replicating that model that Jeff and Dave are talking about. So in more of a Port Townsend way.
And just a quick comment,
Fred.
because I am on the TCC and the Port Townsend LTAG, and the TCC, the Tourism Coordinating Council, I always get it wrong. They've been talking about destination marketing for the county. So very in-depth conversations going on there. And then Port Townsend LTAC is going to have a joint meeting with the county LTAC to see how they could possibly collaborate and just to kind of understand how they both operate and how they divvy up their funds. So that is coming in the end of May, I believe. And then Port Townsend has also been talking about wayfinding signage and different things. And we talked about how when you get off the bridge, a lot of people just go right past the turnoff where Beaver Valley is. And how do we attract people to see that? And hopefully that hub there at the Gateway Visitor Center, eventually, if it's not 12 years from now, we can go there and get into the county more, go to Port Ludlow, Port Townsend. So,
And merging those brands, that's a good opportunity for branding too, is if, visitors see similar signage, they're going to know there are similar opportunities ahead of them. Fred had some thoughts.
I was at a regional transportation planning meeting recently, and there was a presentation about the World Cup coming, and it's obviously a little bit late for us to do a lot with that, but this idea of being able to promote to people how you can get around and all around the Olympic Peninsula, especially in light of that event, is this discussion is really important. They're expecting 175,000 people in Seattle. There's they think that every room will be booked 3 hours away from Seattle. And they think that of those people, that they're not going to come just for the game. They're going to say, well, I just flew here from South Carolina. Let's look around a little bit, And so after they get done doing the World Cup, they're going to want to do these types of things. And obviously the Olympic Peninsula is a big draw for folks like that.
And car rentals aren't very available. renting a car in the Olympic Peninsula.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I
So
mean,
you've got this.
but but to feel safe about getting on a ferry and what happens at the other end of that. And can I get to where I want to go without getting lost and going to the wrong Vancouver, you know? Yeah.
So, so the promotion of this, obviously the more we can get this, really nailed down for people for this event and future events is really going to be important.
Great
Well, and
job.
we talk about, this area sometimes, as the end of the world. And this is kind of, in some sense, it's proof of almost the opposite. We think ourselves as the end of the world, but we're not. We're not even close. We're a deeply connected part of the world that has a lot of connection opportunities, and thinking about those in new ways can offer opportunities for people that, to get that new kind of transit rider that we were talking about. Get them here, get them using those third-party apps that we talked about a few meetings ago, where they can make that connection, where if they're in downtown Seattle and they have to get up and get a ferry and then come over, they've got a tool with them rather than a paper schedule to have that be dynamic in real time. So lots of new opportunities.
Comment too. I go to the Olympic Peninsula Tourism Commission meetings, and they were talking about trying to get some of the I-5 corridor billboards for the that event,
Mhm.
so that they can get people to come to the Olympic Peninsula.
There are big efforts underway, obviously, but the more we can get this really smooth, and well-known, that's really important.
Lots of opportunity here. Amanda, you were pointing.
Oh, he had his hand up, but it's down now.
Oh, somebody had their hand up online?
Yeah, it was just me. I just want to say to Jefferson Transit, keep it up, keep up the outreach. I think you have a very receptive audience out there. I just paid about $5.60 a gallon for gas today. So that is a great advertisement for this.
Yes.
Sure.
Great way to get people on the bus.
Other thoughts on our connectivity ideas from a recreation standpoint, transit to trails, using bikes and feet, as well as ferries? Great. If not, I have one more.
I was just gonna say, get out there and experience it for yourself, and pass the word along to other people of how you navigated and how you connected across town. Was like I in the outreach that we did, there were a lot of people that have been here for 30 years and didn't know of trails or can't understand how to get across town in a route that they would like to take. And there's plenty of them. So keep exploring and look for the city outreach on some of these public outreach opportunities for the upcoming planning grants.
Thank you for that. I did want to include Jeff, thank you so much for your presentation, your good thoughts on the active transportation plan, kind of putting all these ideas together. I did want to ask Dave kind of almost like similar questions to what Jeff talked about. So when people arrive at the port, via air or via water, is there any information on the port website or at the port that notifies people coming in for, maybe coming in a boat and just I wanted to talk to us a little bit about that information, just so everybody here has it. Dave, you're muted. You're muted. We really want to hear what you have to say, Dave.
You're still muted.
You're
Got it. I think I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I work at the Point Hudson office, which is the moorage office for the marina and also for the RV park.
Yes.
And I happened to be standing in the public area talking to one of our moorage clerks. Must have been a Monday morning kind of thing. And somebody from JTA, Jefferson Transit, came in with the new schedules. So we have a stack of them at all of our major ports of entry, I would call it. Not to be limited to just our moorage offices and our RV office, but also our businesses too. But this is where we have our primary contact for folks arriving by boat or by other means of transportation. As far as we had it just the other day, somebody asked me, well, how do I get over to the Elks building? And they were worried about timing, and they were worried about where whether they'd be able to get back to the marina and so forth. So we have staff that help with making those connections. We also have posted schedules and also available schedules for pickup. So we do a lot of that public outreach. I think the one place where we can get better is for our 40 employees. And that's probably my job, is to just do a little bit better outreach when it comes to that too. We have just numerous tenants and contractors, independent people who work on boats and so forth. So that is the major gap that I think we could work on. We're doing really good with our recreational visitors, though.
Great.
There's some things like, the people in Point Hudson who are staying there can walk, but a lot of our transient mortgage type of occupants and visitors at Boat Haven, do have, I mean, it's a little bit of a walk to Sirens. So, we do promote that quite a bit.
Sirens.
Yeah.
Specific there.
Yeah, sorry. Some questions are pretty specific. Our boat crowd is
A
kind
long
of a
walk
party
to our
crowd.
many businesses in Port Townsend.
Yes, that's correct.
Have you gone to the fair at Boathaven that they just staged, the working waterfront thing?
Yeah.
Wasn't that fun?
Yeah, it is fun. We go to that and the Boatyard Barbecue, of course, in
Yeah,
September,
that one.
and the Wooden Boat Festival too. So, yeah, any ideas there? We do get tons of
The leader
visitors,
inserts for Boathaven.
tens of thousands of people a year. So,
Great.
Well,
especially
that
Wooden
takes
Boat Festival, we get 35,000. So over a weekend.
Really.
Well, that takes us perfectly. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Dave. That takes us perfectly into Kelly's. Something Kelly has been working on about traveling to Port Townsend car free. She has some draft information to review with us.
Share my screen again. So this was in the packet and as long as I can see. So this came from when we had the hospitality people that came to TAG and they presented, and somebody mentioned it would be nice if the hotels had consistent language, and then it came up in TAG about having consistent language for all the event planners on their websites. And I have talked to Main Street about it as well, so it's kind of been a long time coming. And the thoughts are having consistent language on hotel event planner websites that are local, how to get people to Port Townsend car free. And so I have tried to do it from different points surrounding Port Townsend. So from Port Angeles, from SeaTac, from Portland, and then from Bellingham. This was in the packet. So again, I don't know if we want to, think we have time to like go through it, but if you guys want to just read through it and give me any feedback for changes. I did have some changes already about adding the Dungeness line, and I'm wondering if maybe like at the bottom, we talk about that there is a Dungeness line with information how to contact them and where they go. And then clarifying that the Kitsap Ferry doesn't run on Sundays, which is a very good point because we don't want people to get stranded. Offer options for third-party navigation. Again, maybe there's a note at the bottom for like other information after the instructions, and then links to the other agencies. So anytime another agency is mentioned, it can link. I want it to be simple and clear and not overly cluttered, but also make sense and be easy to understand. So if anybody has feedback now, or if you want to read it and think about it and then give me feedback, I don't have a strict deadline. It's just something that it would be nice to have out there. So we're finally getting this going, maybe by the next meeting, within the next couple weeks.
Let's set a June 1 deadline because that's summer travel. It'd be nice to have that.
Have a deadline.
That was in our packet.
Yeah.
Page 23, 22 to 23.
Yeah, it's only
Okay.
2 pages.
June 1. And then do you want it to come back to TAG as like a final document then before we go out to share it with hotels and event planners, or just you guys give me suggestions by June 1 and then I will finalize it with Nicole and
I think it needs to be finalized by then to be, yeah.
Yeah, let's just do
Late
it,
at
get
that
it out,
point.
yeah.
Bring
Get
it out by
the
June
door.
1.
And it's June 1.
June 1st, yes.
Deadline. Yeah, that's plenty of time for people.
So yeah, just read through it, see if it makes sense to you, if anything's confusing, any questions you have or suggestions. I've had my staff that plan trips vet it for me to make sure that everything lines up and it makes sense.
It's in the lobbies of all the hotels in Seattle, Tacoma area.
So we can,
Is this a certified folder thing? Would that be something, or do you deal with? Does either the tourism organization deal with the concierges in Seattle?
so when I went to the Optics Summit, I told them all about this and a lot of them were very excited. And some of the people there wanted this information too, like in Port Angeles, who have hotels in Port Angeles. So I feel like we start local with getting all of our local agencies hiring it. And then I guess we try to spread out and see where it makes most sense. And it's probably all just manual outreach.
Well, that was my point. Do you have a distribution method? Would you have to contract a certified, or does Olympic Peninsula Tourism have a distribution network for this kind of information?
I'm sure that they could help. I could ask them in the next meeting. I have a meeting with them this week. So
I think that's, and again, that's all the transits, and it goes to the whole footprint question of, yes, we want you to come visit us on Olympic Peninsula, but we prefer you were in your bare feet and not with your car, you know, kind of thing.
Maybe you could leave the fashion items.
Yes,
Yeah, okay, then so June 1 deadline for to respond to Kelly's proposal in the packet. And I'd be interested too, Kelly, if you're gonna take this to the Tourism Coordinating Council, have they had a chance to weigh in on any of this or hear that you're doing it?
I've talked to them about that I was doing it and they all gave me thumbs up. I haven't actually given it to them. Sometimes it's hard, you know, every time you give something just multiple places, everybody has feedback and they have certain ways that they want it or what they want on it. I don't want to overcomplicate it.
How about if perhaps, because I'm thinking about what Tim is saying, wide distribution, how we get that, seems like that's a good entry point or one of many possible entry points. So after you are ready.
It's finalized, then it's,
Yeah.
here's the final text.
Yes.
You have, ways to help us distribute it. I like that, because then it's not, oh, you should add this in and that in, because I'm getting that with the map. People want.
oh yeah, you don't, do I?
Not all the
Everybody
trails
have
on
it.
there, you need to know the route numbers, you need this, and I'm like, oh, that's really.
Then you can't read it anymore.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
too cluttered.
Because one of the hazards of.
But yeah, that is a good idea to, once it's finalized, to reach out to them.
It's the same thing when it's finalized, not only on the website, but maybe Main Street gets it now and
Definitely.
other
Yeah.
tourism agencies.
And I've had the conversation with Main Street about it already.
I remember you said you talked to Natalie's team, so, okay. All right, we've got about 10 minutes left in our meeting today. We do have a new tag member application. She is in the room with us today. I believe that Nicole and Amanda interviewed her. I don't know how, we haven't had a tag member application in a while. Kelly, are you planning to tell us a little bit about our candidate, or are we just gonna vote on her application?
Yeah.
That's
It
it.
was not, and I don't think that we've done that in the past. I think all the information, the application was in the packet, so you guys can, discuss, or anybody can comment and then you guys can vote on it.
Right, so Karen's application is in the packet. I don't have the exact page number, but I know that Deb's looking at it right now. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to look it over. I hope you had a chance to review.
Page
your packet.
24.
Page 24. That's Karen's
I
tag
didn't get that
application.
either, that's why I didn't get the.
It's definitely, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Would I look at it?
Yes, I would.
I'll give you my computer.
Okay.
Would you like me to leave?
No, you're fine.
Oh, my
You're
God.
fine.
No.
So we'll open up public comment. We have to get to public comment in 5 minutes. So what we do need to do is, I guess there's two things that we can do. We can call for a motion today.
Finger.
Oh, God, you need, okay.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Karen is a transit dependent writer, does not own a car. Has been writing, Port Townsend resident, lived in Hemlock before, so a lot of experience with that.
Thanks.
And that's all pretty well documented in the application as well.
It is.
Good application.
So we can call for a motion today. I do want, and just in case everyone hasn't had a chance to review their application and figure out what Tim just said, we could also vote to do this in July. I am not trying to postpone anything. I'm just saying if everyone hasn't had a chance to read it.
Just a reminder that you guys will vote to recommend to the.
Correct.
to-
Yeah.
Your JTAB
Yeah.
about when has to appoint her. We cannot ourselves appoint.
There is a board meeting on July 21st.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Dave.
I'd like to move that we forward the application of Karen Hamelinen to the Jefferson Transit Board for consideration as a new member of the Transit Advisory Group.
I will second that.
We've had a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye to vote.
Hey,
Aye.
All opposed?
Is Deb still on?
Yes. And any abstentions? All right, the motion passes unanimously. And that is again, the motion, to remind everybody, that's the motion to recommend to JTAB Karen be appointed as part of the team.
So we
We're not deciding
kicked it
today.
upstairs, so
Yeah.
that's the best.
Best we can.
Now this gentleman here and his colleagues will make the decision.
We'll huddle and they'll do that. All right, we have,
Chat, is someone asking us a question?
no, that means we're highlighting.
Bring us strong, Rick.
That's why we're in the. So this, we have a couple minutes left. We do have to go to public comments. But before we do that, one last round of public comment, I do want to just kind of do one more round to ask for we've had a robust discussion today. Kelly updated us on many things going on with Jefferson Transit. We had a very robust discussion of connectivity and trails, boats and ferries. Any kind of advice that, you know, since that's our role, Transit Advisory Group. Now that you've heard all this, is there anything that's on your mind, you've had a minute to think, that you want to share with staff? Easy add. Everybody's real quiet. Okay, everyone's getting to the point where they want to go.
I just love the direction they're going. The fact that it's not just transit for transit's sake, because the other agencies are involved, see transit as part of the thing. That's what it should do.
Jeff's off camera, but he has his hand up. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm on my walking commute home here. So I like all the information we talked about tonight. I like the idea of trying to connect visitors to Port Townsend, encouraging transit. I will make a plug for support. It's a sensitive topic, but you know, as long as parking remains so convenient in, you know, I represent the city, so as long as it's convenient for the downtown, and there's parking available for free, people are likely going to choose that more often than not. So, you know, that came up as a topic in the last year that kind of got postponed, but you know, paid parking would encourage more people to use the park and ride and the free transit. So, something to keep in our minds for support.
Yes, that's true. And it's a good opportunity too. Thank you for that, Jeff. To remember that, you know, this is about Jefferson County and that there are other communities as well who have free parking, but not necessarily the congestion that parking. So Debbie and then Rose.
I don't have much to say other than my spouse and I rode the bus 4 different times on Sunday.
Wow.
Already.
Well, congratulations.
So no, I'm very happy to have Sunday service. It's so much easier to talk to people about transit when you don't have to say, oh, but you can't ride on Sunday. You're going to have to come up with some other way to go home. Now you've got it all.
Right.
So no, it's wonderful. Thank you.
Sounds great. Rose, then Fred. Can wrap us up.
I had this experience with a long-term friend who has been here a lot longer than I have to go to Gallery Walk. And it was very painful. I mean, not physically, but because she still is stuck in her mind about driving around and around and being as close as possible because
Right.
now she's aging.
Right.
She didn't want to walk very far. And I have like had this conversation with her through the last year and a half about let's just go to the parking ride and ride the bus. Well, I might have to walk. I said, if you're going to Gallery Walk, you're going to be walking anyway. But then I just kept my mouth shut and I said, whatever. Well, I don't like this parking place. It's too far, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, I'll meet you at Gallery 9 because that's just where you want to go. And I'm stopping along the way. So bye-bye. I let her drive away because I'm very comfortable with, I mean, it's called Gallery Walk anyway. Yeah, I'm very comfortable. And she lives right on F and Fair. So I'm often visiting it with her and leaving from there. And I know exactly when I have to start walking down the steps and go to the corner. You know, I've got it down in my head. And she's like, why are you so anxious? Why are you in a hurry? Because I'm like, check, double check.
They run on a schedule.
Because I've got 3 minutes to go down 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps and a half a block across the street. You know, I'm going to be late. Bye.
Well, that's great that you can remind and share us that experience that each of us on TAG have a role to,
Yes.
you know, to communicate that to our networks and our friends and our colleagues to
She
encourage.
has the same birthday as my bossy Leo daughter, and both of them micromanage my life constantly verbally, and they can't hear when you're trying to give them new information. They
Keep
think you're
working on it, Rose. Keep working
Yeah,
on it.
but like-
Go to Fred so we can.
anyway. It was a painful experience.
I'll be brief. I just think I'm going to echo what Tim said. I think it's the exciting direction. And I'm just really glad to be part of this group. And let me know, this is my first meeting in person here.
That's right.
So if you'd like to hear more from me, that's pretty brief
That's
in
why
my
we didn't let
board
you-
report. But I'm happy to, you know, amend that in any way. Let me know what you need from me to add to your deliberations.
We're glad you're here.
Bless you for being here.
Oh, yeah, my
It's the
problem.
first time I've been
Yeah, Dave, I think Dave had a motion, but he hasn't kind of led us through his thoughts, concluding thoughts.
Can you
Or
hear me?
if you don't have any, you can pass. That's okay.
No, it's fine. I am really pleased with the direction, and it's just amazing, just in my 3 short years here, how much has changed,
Yes.
and all changes to the positive.
good.
So I think with, you know, paid parking downtown and $5.60 a gallon gas, I think it's a no better time to take transit.
Ain't that the truth?
That is absolutely. Those are great thoughts. Let's just remember too. That's the other thing. Not only paid parking, but the cost of gasoline has an influence on transit ridership. Good thing to remember. So our final action is public comment. Does any member of the public wish to give public comment? Do we have anyone online, Amanda?
There are no hands up online.
We do have someone in the room here
Briefly,
Yeah, who's-
public.
who's public. If you would like to speak, we give all speakers 3 minutes.
Okay, well, I will take advantage of it. Well, thank you, by the way. Thank you for passing it on. Just so I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about what, you know, yes, I
Introduce yourself.
really ride the bus, okay? And I've used every single bus.
Your name, so we know.
Karen Hamalainen.
Hamalainen.
Hamalainen, yeah.
That's how I know.
And it's, you know, and I change all the time. I know how to use the schedule. I'm not online. And I can tell you that I really depend on your written stuff. And I saw like the advertisements about a year ago for the whole peninsula, and it did not include buses, all the systems of the buses. And I thought, wow, there's nothing here about the transit thing. And this is the whole thing, about 40 pages of how wonderful it was to be on the peninsula, right?
And not a buzzword anywhere.
No.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway,
Yes, good
I have
point.
lots of ideas.
But I got you.
I'd love to have some time with you.
Thank you.
All right,
I'm
then.
glad I know your name now. I've often ridden the bus with you.
Okay, that concludes public comments. Thank you, Karen. Very nice for you. I'm glad you kind of did a little bit of introduction for us. So with that, I adjourn this meeting of the Transit Advisory Group at 6:31 p.m. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, July 1 at 5 p.m.